Hello and welcome to LinuxCast install of Ubuntu 12.04 LTS. Today we're going to install Ubuntu on a virtual machine. These instructions will work just fine on a desktop or a laptop as well though. So what I'm going to have you do is go to ubuntu.com and click on desktop on the menu above. And then you're going to click on Get Ubuntu Now. There's also some information on this page if you want to read up. And they have two different download options here. They have one for 12.04 LTS and the other is 1310. 12.04 is a little more stable. It's long-term support. Normally you want 64-bit, but because I'm doing a virtual machine, I'm going to grab the 32-bit version today. Then I'm going to click on the Ubuntu button. They ask for a small donation, but the software is free, so just go ahead and navigate down to Not Now, take me to the download. It's going to ask you to save it. I'm going to save mine in a location where I've already got a couple of downloads, but just save it to a place where you can find it. That'll take a few minutes to download, and while we're waiting, let me show you some of the stuff that is on the Ubuntu website. So they have the desktop, works on desktops and laptops, netbooks, things like that. They also have a server edition, but if you're a new user, you probably don't need to worry about this. Just know that it's there. It works on desktops and servers. They also have cloud software. If you're familiar with the cloud at all, if you've ever used iCloud or Microsoft's cloud, it's just a way to store your data online. They also have their own built-in cloud service called Ubuntu One. It's available at one.ubuntu.com. It's an online storage space. It stores my files. They give you 5 gigabytes for free. It also does music, photos, files, the whole shooting gallery. The music add-on does cost a little bit of money, but it plays on my phone, and I can pretty much listen to my music anywhere from the cloud. Not familiar with the photo feature at all, haven't had to use that, but I do know the files are free. They also do phone, tablet, and TV. There's information on all of them if you just click on the tabs. With the phones, they're looking at doing their own telephone here in the future, which would be pretty nice. It allows you, once again, to take your files and data with you, and then eventually he'll just plug your phone into a computer monitor and use it like a regular computer. They're also starting to work with tablets. Mostly Android-based tablets, but eventually they're hoping to have their own individual tablet. Also looking at TV in the future. TV is going to be pretty interesting. It'll interact directly with your cable box if you have one of those. Play movies off hard drive. Do a lot of interesting, cool features like that. Now I believe our download is done, and it is. So I'm going to come over here. Today I'm installing on Oracle's VirtualBox. It's free software. You can download it from their website. I don't have anything on here yet, so I'm going to create a new one by clicking on New. I'm going to name it Ubuntu, and immediately it already knows that it's Linux and it's Ubuntu. And oops, I actually meant 12.04. 13.10 is the latest, but we're using the long-term support. And it's going to use the same RAM on my computer, so I'm going to give it just over 3 gigabytes. Normally you don't really need that much, but for this it'll make it faster. I think I have a don't have a hard drive, so I'm going to create a new hard drive now. If you're installing on your laptop or desktop, you don't need to worry about this. I like to give mine a fixed size. I'm going to give it just north of 10 gigabytes of space. That'll give us some playroom. It's going to create it. Once again, if you're installing on your desktop or laptop, you're just going to take that disk we downloaded, burn it onto a DVD, and throw it right into your computer. If you need any help with that, there's plenty of tutorials online to help you with that one. We're almost done here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start it real quick. Just need to check something. All right. So we're going to click on Start. It's going to ask me what disk I want to use. So I'm going to use the little folder icon and choose that 1204. Just make sure it's the right one. Yep, it's the one we just downloaded, and we're going to open it. And it's going to start up. Now this is the splash screen. Let's switch to full screen real quick. But the purple there was the Ubuntu splash screen. It's going to take a minute to load up again here. Just trying to load files. Your desktop will be similar. There we go, Ubuntu 12.04 splash. Now, just in case you're wondering, the reason it's called 12.04 is Ubuntu releases every April and October. So April is 04 release, October is the 10 release. So the latest version is 13.10, and that came out in October of 2013. And if you figured out your math, 12.04 came out in April of 2012. It's doing its loading now. This will take a few minutes whether you're doing it on a virtual machine or an actual computer. Obviously, the faster your computer is, usually the faster this goes. Your CD drive also plays a factor there, and it's just loading up now. This is going to be their install screen, and you can see in the upper right it's loading some basic functionality. The keyboard, the two arrows is the internet connection and volume. So you see those two arrows, then you got a good internet connection. Take a few minutes for everything to come into play here. Alright, great. So you can try Ubuntu if you want without installing it. Let you play with it, see how it runs. Won't be as fast as a regular install, but for today we're just going to do a regular Ubuntu install. Now if you've got the time, download updates and install third-party software. That'll just make your life easier down the road. Now of course with any computer there's going to be more updates than this is downloading, but this is a good starting point. And it's already letting me know that I have good hard drive space and a decent internet connection. Okay, for this case I'm going to erase the disk and install Ubuntu because there's nothing else on this disk. We just created it, and there it is, the VirtualBox hard disk, and there's the size. And it's going to take a few minutes for it to initialize. It's not running super fast right now because I am recording the video at the same time I'm installing. It's also on a virtual machine, so that makes it a little slower sometimes. You'll see the progress bar now. It's going to ask me some questions. It already knows where I am because of my internet. I'm in Phoenix. And then it's going to ask me some keyboard questions. Usually you can default that if you're English speaking. But it does custom macros as well, like Dvorak. So it's going to ask me my name. You can just put in first name, last name, whatever you want. I'm just going to put in my first name, Josh. I'm going to name my computer Ubuntu01. I'm going to leave my username as Josh. I'm going to put in a secure password. I know it says it's a fair password, but I do have a capital and a number in there, so that's usually pretty secure. And then I'm going to require login with my password. And we're going to continue. Now, this is going to take a few minutes, so I'm going to speed things up. And when it's done, it'll ask you to reboot, and then we'll start logging in with your password. Now it's going to take a few minutes to load, A, because it's the first time, and B, once again, it's a virtual machine, so it's not running as fast as it could. There we go, it's almost loaded, and here we go. You are on your Ubuntu desktop. Now the background looks pretty discolorized in this video, but it'll look a lot cleaner once it's on your computer. And left side here we got your menu, so go ahead and check out all your menu items. And we're going to start here with workspaces. You have 4 workspaces, basically 4 desktops. So you can have 4 individual things running on 4 desktops, and we're going to demo that. I'm going to start with Firefox. Let's make sure my internet connection is running fine. And I'm going to go to our website, linuxcasts.net. There we go, internet's working. That's good. Then I'm going to move to another workspace here, and I'm going to check out, how about LibreOffice Writer? If you don't know what LibreOffice is, it's like Microsoft Word, but it's free. You don't have to pay for it. It works just like Word. And I'm going to do a quick demo here. I'm going to write a couple of lines on there. How about go to Hello World? If I could spell world. Then we'll say I like me, because I like me. And then I'm going to make Hello World the header. I'm going to center it and make it a little bigger. I'll even underline it. There you go. So you have a word processor built right into it. I'm going to go to another workspace. I'm going to load up what they call the Ubuntu Software Center. Ubuntu Software Center is where you're going to find a lot of apps and programs that you might need to run your system. There's a lot of familiar things in here. There's a lot of cross-compatible programs between Windows and Linux. It just takes a minute to load. Big one there is FileZilla. If you don't know what that is, that's okay, but a lot of people use that. So FileZilla is cross-compatible. If you need Flash or Java or anything that you want, you're going to use the search bar to find it. Usually it can find it or something that's compatible or comparable. Oh, it's a really great tool. So, with that in mind, always use your Ubuntu Software Center. It's not like regular Windows where you find your programs. Now, this is interesting. You might get one of these pop-ups for new drivers available. What you're going to do is actually click on it on the menu above. And this is going to let you know if you have particular drivers you need. In this case, it knows it's a VirtualBox, and it says, hey, let us install the add-ons for the VirtualBox. This is going to make the system run much smoother, especially if you're using a VirtualBox. It's going to detect a whole range of drivers, from special processors, special graphics cards, especially of an NVIDIA or AMD graphic card. You'll definitely want to pay attention to those. That'll make your system run so much better. In this case, we're just installing ones that make it easier for Linux to run inside the VirtualBox. Now, once you install these drivers, you'll probably want to do a restart. Doesn't matter what the drivers are for, graphics or otherwise. Just taking a minute for mine to install. It looks like this particular set says it's for the Linux kernel. If you're not familiar with the Linux kernel, that's okay. Basically, the kernel is just the basis for the entire operating system. Windows has a kernel as well, but you never see it or have to deal with it. You mostly don't Linux either, just to know that it needs to be updated occasionally. Then there's the volume control. It's got a built-in music player as well. Information about logging in and out. And then this is the dash button. If you ever need to find something and it's not on the menu on the left, just search for it here, either a program or a folder or a file. And this is going to seek it out and put it back in there. But this is the basics. And then, of course, you can log out, lock your screen, or shut down the machine. So that's it. This is the Ubuntu desktop. If you need any help, don't be afraid to go to linuxcast.net or post in the comments below. Or of course with Linux, there is information everywhere.